It's said that for people to have faith in the rule of law, justice must not only be done, it must be seen to be done. So what are we to make of laws that use the notwithstanding clause or prompt constitutional challenges? What does that do to people's faith in a just society? Frédéric Bérard is a constitutional lawyer. Hello, nice to see you again, Frédéric.
Same here.
So we're off on another one of our philosophical constitutional things, but again, this one's important. So I'm curious about Quebec's laws. Bill 2, said to infringe on free speech. Bill 1, no taxpayer money to contest a law like Bill 1. Bill 21, no religious symbols, but targeting some religious groups more than others, seemingly. Now, I'm assuming that the lawyers who write these laws must know that they invite constitutional challenges, so they do this anyway?
Well, I hope they do, but if they do, it doesn't show. Let's say that way. Unfortunately, I mean, they have to follow the instruction, the directives from the minister. So if a political party, if a government decides to go that way, then the lawyer from the government have to follow the directives, which is quite a problem as of now.
Okay, so you've taken the lawyers off the hook on this one then. So then it's the government. They bring in this law, they bring in the notwithstanding clause to protect the law. Can we see that as cynical then on the part of the government?
Yeah, it's a very, very sad time for the rule of law, not only in Quebec, but also elsewhere in Canada and also everywhere in Occident. Just take a look what's happening in the US right now, where the Trump's administration is leaning towards some kind of fascism. Let's be frank. Each and every public fundamental rights have been removed in a way or another. So yeah, it's a very we have to be very careful about what's going on here in Quebec, because I think that there's an influence from everywhere that penetrates our society. So we need to fight for that. Well, that's my job as a lawyer and a political commentator. And we need also to be aware that if we don't take our responsibility very quickly, then we're going to face some kind of, another kind of regime pretty time soon.
So any of the recent bills that the government has tabled that particularly bother you?
Yeah, well, actually, as you know, I'm one of the lawyers who are bringing the Bill 21 in front of the Supreme Court on the one aspect, on the notwithstanding clause aspect, because we are of the opinion, my client is the FAE, Fédération Autonome Enseignement du Québec, that it's way too easy for parliaments to use the notwithstanding clause right now without any serious condition, without any way of demonstrating that they're violating our rights for pursuing an objective, for instance. So yeah, this is, for me, obviously it's probably the biggest one right now, but there are other files that deserve some attention, especially the Bill 2 about the doctors, where we are facing a bill that it is clearly removing a lot of fundamental rights at the same time, notably the freedom of speech.
So when this goes before the Supreme Court, I mean, very quickly, because I don't mean to rush you, but I'm rushing you. If it goes before the Supreme Court, what criteria will the court be looking at?
Well, it depends on the case itself, obviously. But as for the Bill 21, what is important to say, I would say, is that it's the first time that the court has to decide what it's going to do with the notwithstanding clause. It has been decided a long time ago in 1988 that this is how we conceive the fundamental rights in Canada. But I think that in the 2025 or 26, I think that it deserves to be reseen with the society that we're living in right now. So this is probably the biggest criteria that will be bring up to the court. This is what I'm trying to do anyway.
When these laws are passed, the laws that people don't think are fair or just, do you worry then that people will lose faith in the law, that they might start thinking that maybe the laws aren't worth following?
That's very, very important question you're asking, because yes, for a certain part of the population, but for another part of the population, let's take a look at the US right now. We can see that some people feel that, fundamental rights are not that important. And the problem is, very frankly, and we see that in Quebec as well, people care about the rule of law when it affects their own rights. When it doesn't, I mean, they don't care at all. And this is the reason why politicians are using, that sentiment in a way, saying, well, I can remove this fundamental right very easily because it's a minority. Nobody even care about them any longer. So we can do that. So this is the buzz that we need to fight right now, that we need to challenge in order to keep our democracy and our rule of law alive.
Okay. Thank you very much for this, Frédéric.
Thanks to you.